All right, this is by Professor Hawking, and he has disputed the fact that God exists, and I have indisputable evidence that there is giants, human giants, and I have DNA proof of this, 3 separate tests. I have CAT scans, I have the specimens, I have a world-famous anatomist that looked at it, and he absolutely guarantees that what I have claimed is correct. Every scientific test that can be done, it's been recreated in the lab. The chemistry is done, the process is known, and we have recreated the feldspar effect of mud fossilization in the lab. And Professor Hawking will not respond to anything that I'm saying. And here's what he has to say. He concludes his book by limiting himself to equations instead of looking for their author. However, if we do discover a complete theory, it should in time be understandable by everyone, which my theory is understandable by children. It's as simple as it gets. Not just a few scientists. Exactly, sir. Then we shall all be able to take part in the discussion of the question of why it is that the universe exists. Discussion requires response. I've posted on Stephen Hawking's page a dozen times over the last year, and not one single nothing, not anything. And I was posting at the time he was asking for science contributors or something like that. People that just average people, and I submitted things over and over and over and over, never once. But the problem is I found the answers that he's not looking for. So if we find the answer to that, it would be the ultimate triumph of human reason, for then we would know the mind of God. He says there is no God. He will not allow himself to be wrong, and he cannot confront the evidence. And I want to speak to Professor Hawking or someone from his group to confront my DNA evidence. I have 3 DNA tests, I have specimens that absolutely contradict the things that everybody's saying about giants in the academic arena, and they will not confront this. And I needed to confront it, and I expected to confront. And I wanted confronted, and I'm here to confront anyone, and to bring everyone you have. Your anatomists, your geologists, your chemists, every one of them, because I have every single base covered on this. There is no holes in my theories. All right, this is the report on the 3 DNA tests that were done. And it describes all of the way the DNA was collected and the specimens and how they were handled and the different testing that was done, and there was 3 of them, and the DNA was dense for ancient DNA. There was over 100 base pairs in multiple regions, and everything came back positive. The negative controls were always negative. There was never a problem. And all of the sequencing was done, and here it is. The PCR products are submitted to Eaton Biosciences in New Jersey for sequencing, and it goes on and on and on. And then it was sequenced, and they were all Homo sapien. Cytochrome B gene and mitochondrial D loop regions, and that's what it is. That's all I'm telling you. I don't really know the depth of this. I mean, I went to Johns Hopkins for genomics, and my genomics instructor would not even look at my evidence. Would absolutely refused. And he's supposed to be an expert at DNA, and said everything has to be wrong. It's impossible, and stopped communicating with me. And that was my own professor, Dr. Steven Salzberg. So it's been rejected, but it's not. Why should it be rejected? I want to take a look at it. Thank you. This is a 3D CAT scan of a giant human fingerprint. The fingernail was right here. All of the anatomy is here, and in the CAT scan you can see all of the vascular and the bone and everything. So, and this thing here is like 9 inches, 10 inches long, and that's the tip of a left thumb. As a matter of fact, that's it right here. The bone is in here, and the apical tuft features are all in there. You see that round thing with all these little plugs around it. That's what's called an apical tuft. And I have other ones of this similar size that are even more deteriorated. Hold on, I have one over here. This is what's called an apical tuft. And that would be right embedded at the tip of the finger. And that's what holds all of the investments in, like the tendons are invested into these little holes here. By the way, I'm not just guessing at this stuff. I have as much knowledge of this stuff as he does. It's all, I have been doing this my whole life. Alright, these are some of the work that I did. And this whole book is filled with this stuff. It's not just one page. And this is not just one weekend. And this is not 1 year. This is my whole life I've been doing this stuff. So if he's got something on me, that's fine. But I would like to have something. This is not just, you don't do this in the afternoon and then go out and have lunch, you know, and then forget all this stuff. This is my whole life. And I've done the other parts too, where I've figured out all of the heat and the different changes and the whole thing, the chemistry of everything that I'm talking about. So I want somebody to respond to the truth that I'm presenting, and it's not being responded to, and it's being avoided. And there is the apical tuft right there that I showed you a minute ago.